Hello everyone, in today's video will I finally fill in the last two gaps in the city and populate the roads with custom cars. So let's just get straight into it. As some of you may know, have I not been in the Lego room that much the last year as I've moved out to study on university. But I have been building a lot of Lego in Bricklink Studio, getting ready for the next big and small projects. So one of the main things I wanted to fix was building the last skyscraper in my city, which is going to be quite different from all my other buildings as it's going to be cut in half so you can see the full interior. And the design was done last fall sometime, but now I think I have all the parts needed to get it built as well. So let's start out on that. But first, let's remove the construction site and move it to the other empty spot in the city, which is also going to get filled later in the video. And now we can finally start on the construction of the building. But first, I have to quickly fix the sidewalk around the building before I can move over to the interior. And I've tried to make the sidewalk as interesting as it can be, using both light bluish gray and dark bluish gray tiles to make an interesting pattern and to just add a little splash of color. First floor is going to be a fancy restaurant, which means I need lots of chairs and tables and the kitchen, of course. And to give it that modern and fancy look, I'm adding lots of windows to all the walls with some columns between to change it up, as well as some large pillars on the outside to help with the stability of the rest of the build. But it was at this point I understood that I didn't have all the pieces after all. But I was able to get in most of the first floor, and the order is put in for the rest of the build, so you won't have to wait too long to see it in my city. But if you want to see the finished model before that, can you check out my Rebrickable page where I post a lot of my mocks complete with instructions. But as building the skyscraper doesn't work, let's move over to another thing that needs my attention, the cars. At the moment I have a lot of cars in the city, but very few custom vehicles, which I find a problem. So let's remove all the old cars and fill up the roads again with some new vehicles. Starting off with one of the most recognizable cars in the world, the Mini Cooper. And to get its iconic small and round look, have used a lot of slopes combined with modified bricks and brackets to be able to build in all directions. And of course, have I built it in its iconic red, black and white colors, which gives it that nice pop. And even though it's small, am I able to fit a full minifigure inside it. And just for fun, do I want to have the undersized car carrying another car on a trailer. And to build a trailer is quite simple. Using just a plate for each of the wheel to rest on and adding some wheels for the trailer itself and a trailer hitch, and we are golden. Then adding in the Lego set 60113 rally car, can we see that the trailer just about fits a car. And adding it to the back of the Mini makes for an awesome little scene with someone carrying a rally car to its next race. Next is just to place the whole contraption into my city. And from small to smaller, next I'm adding in the mock, which is based on a Norwegian car brand called Buddy. This car is also built quite interestingly, as the whole thing is built on its side to get the right measurements between the different attachment points, and it makes it possible to build in almost every direction. This car has in real life a length of under 2.5 meters, meaning it can legally be parked in all 4 directions. So getting the small size right was the most important part in my opinion. So because of that, does it only fit half a minifigure, even though the real car has 3 seats. The next car is not a mock, but it looks awesome nonetheless, and is the towing truck from the corner garage. With all its detail in a 6-stud wide space, do I absolutely think it deserves a place in my city. Now, to get away from all the car placing for a second, do I think my city needs some more trees? I have some planted trees along the sidewalk and promenade, but no wild growing trees, I guess you can say. So let's fix that. Starting off with a simple reddish brown base, built with some bricks and slopes to create a trunk with some leaf elements in bright green and normal green to fix the top. And lastly, a little bird. I tried getting in some depth to it by adding in different layers of leaves separated by more of the trunk and using some different elements and colors, making for quite a small and nice and, in my eyes, classic Lego tree. And under the tree am I adding in maybe my favorite Lego vehicle set, the yellow Creator Land Rover, built almost exclusively with studs facing the right way up, but still it's able to get all its most important features through, as it's supposed to be quite blocky a bit like Lego bricks. Next is my biggest vehicle, a truck, more specifically a Scania S-Series truck. And the base of it is quite simple, with some Technic bricks connected with pins for stability. And the start of the cockpit is nothing to write home about. Built very simply using normal bricks and plates, and some curves along the edges to smooth it off just a bit. But as it has a spacious interior, was I able to add in 2 seats and a bed in the back. But here comes the interesting part. To get the right angles along the windows with the right height is it built completely on its side. And this carries along to the front, where I'm then able to use slopes for the corners and wedge tiles for the hood details. Then on top, I'm adding in a simple roof with some slopes before we turn our attention to the back part. Here I'm adding in lots of different greebling to give it some character and fill the otherwise empty area. And on top of that, I'm adding in some bars that closely resemble real trucks. I'm also adding in some mud guards built using flags to cover the wheels. And with the number plate put on and the wheels added, is the truck itself finished. And you can of course lift off the roof so you can see the interior of the cockpit. But I think we can agree that most trucks drive around with a container in the back. So to give it an even more finished look, I'm adding in a container where the sides are filled with logo and art, and in the back do we have a working door that can open up so you can see the empty void that is the inside of the container. This truck is meant to represent the brand Asko, which delivers food to different stores and restaurants all over Norway. They have over 600 trucks that's in use daily, meaning they are everywhere in Norway, making me see them pretty much every day. And because of that I want to have it in my Lego city. As in my eyes, is it maybe the most iconic truck out there. And just for fun, let's add a little pizza scooter behind the monster that is the Asko truck. Next, let's make Elon Musk happy and add in a Lego Tesla. Tesla is difficult in that it has few defining features and few sharp angles, making it difficult to build in Lego. But I still want to do it, and I chose to not make the Model X, as I think these window pieces just work perfectly for the Model S or Model 3. And I chose to make the Tesla Model S as it has more characteristic features to work with. Whereas the Model 3 has more white everywhere, does the Model S have some black details on the hood and other details I wanted to capture. But on both cars is one of the most important characteristics, the headlights, that are made using 1x2 half circle tile connected using a bar with the angled studs attached, giving it an interesting and somewhat accurate angle, which I then had to use lots of weird wedges to fill up the rest of the space left around it. Another important feature is its relatively wide and low design, and since I'm building it as a 6-stud wide car, did it end up being quite low and small, but proportionally is it quite accurate. Now for something that just makes sense. Because Lego bricks, they are blocky. They have hard angles. And what car is blocky and have hard angles? Volvos, of course. Especially the old ones. So now I'm making a Volvo 940 in dark blue. And I'm really happy with the look of it, as I think Volvos really convert well to Lego. And for the hood, did I use these 1x6 slopes, which just works perfectly. And to show that it goes slightly more forward in the middle, have I been able to move it one plate forward and create some more depth and details. And to make it even more interesting, have I added a roof box and a bicycle rack. All I think makes for a really nice model I can relate to. Now for the last set I'm adding, do we have the pink convertible from the Downtown Diner, which really does look quite cool, with the round headlights and the many other curved angles. And another cool feature with this is that you can fit 2 minifigures in front like most cars in real life, but that sadly not that many of my mocks can. Lastly is it time for my oldest vehicle mock, which is a red bus based on the Solaris Urbino 10. I chose this specific one as it is the bus I took every day to school for about 10 years. This Lego bus has space for 12-seater minifigures and many more standing, including a spot for wheelchairs and prams. The design of the model is quite simple as the bus is quite rectangular in real life, making the conversion to Lego easier for me. When it comes to the roof, have I used some 1x4 curved slopes to get that nice curve to the roof and added in some ventilation outlets to complete the look. Even though it's an older and simpler mock, I still think it holds up very well today, with its packed interior and detailed exterior, and I think it fits perfectly into my city. And when placing it in, do we have to have it waiting for the towing truck to get out of the gas station, as buses always get caught waiting in traffic. Now, before ending this video, is there still one more thing I have to fix, which is the last open spot in the city where the construction site currently is. So I'll start off by removing it, and to fill its place have I got the assembly square. A tiny problem with that building is that it's 1.5 base plates wide, and I only have one free base plate. So I'll have to remove one of the buildings, either the left one and mirroring the other two, or I could remove the right one and move the middle building 2 studs over to the left. And after some consideration did I decide to remove the left white building and mirroring the last two as they're already connected. So then it was only to start mirror building it, and doing some other small modifications to remove the white building, which went quite smoothly and didn't give me any problems or headaches. And with that done, can we finally place it in my city. But one thing I have to do before anything else now is adding a little strip of plates along the edge so you don't see the base plate resting on the studs below. And to do that, I unfortunately have to cut the base plate. But it looks a lot better in my opinion, so I'll still need to do that to some of the other buildings. Now the next step is to light up the building to fit in with all the other modular buildings in my city. And as always, was that quite a bad experience, but at least can I comfort myself knowing that this is the last time I'll have to do it for this city. That and that it looks crazy good with the lights in all the buildings. It makes you able to see all the details put into the interior of the build and would otherwise make so much effort redundant. And now that the building is finished, do we just have to incorporate it better into the rest of the city with tiles and minifigures. So I'm starting off by tiling the sidewalk with 2x2 light bluish grey tiles in the staggered pattern to match the rest of the city, where I make sure to leave lots of studs and jumpers to place minifigures and other details. And with that finished, can we finally add in some minifigures to the outside. And my minifigure collection is starting to take its toll, so I'm adding in some weird ones as well, like the angry pirate, which does make it a little more fun and interesting, as long as it doesn't take away from the rest of the storytelling. And now that the last car is added and the empty spots filled, do I think it looks a lot better and more personalized with all the custom cars. It's also very nice having filled in the last spot in the city, bringing me dangerously close to 100% completion. The only thing I'm missing is to finish the last Lego skyscraper, and now all the parts I'm missing is ordered, so that video is coming before you know it. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.